Welcome to the Host Valley tutorial on how to edit your contact page. Upon logging into your website and being greeted with the dashboard, we will use our mouse to find the section titled Pages, and hover over it, we will select All Pages. This will now take us to a page showing us all the available pages on the website. Next, using our mouse, we find the page titled Contact Us. Upon hovering over it, we have the options to edit, quick edit, trash, view, or edit with Elementor. Please note we will select edit with Elementor as that is the page builder we are using. It seems that my internet has just taken a dip. Please allow a moment. There we go. As you can see, the page is now loaded, and first we will use our mouse to navigate around the page to see all the sections. As you can see, we will start from the top and we will edit the section by hitting the Edit Section button. Next, on the left hand side, a new bar will appear. Here we have options to change the layout of the section, change the content width, column gap, the height, vertical line, overflow, as well as the structure. As you can see, we currently have the structure set up to 50-50, as we have two columns, one for the contact details and one for the email form. Moving on to the styling section, we're able to add a background, we're able to add a background overlay, we're able to add a border to the entire section, a shape divider, as well as edit the typography. Moving on to the advanced section, we're able to edit the margin and the padding. As you can see, we currently have the padding at the top set to 30. If I am to remove this 30, everything will jump up a bit. We will now set that back to 30 and move forward. We're also able to add motion effects, change the responsiveness and the attributes of the section. But please note this is for more in-depth development and you will not need to access this. Moving on from the section, we will edit one of the columns. As you can see, the columns are shown by the black dotted line. We will now select the Edit Column button and the bar on the left hand side will appear yet again. Here we can change the column width, vertical alignment, horizontal alignment, widget space, and so forth. In the styling section, again, we will have the options to add a background, add a border, and to change the typography for this column. I will now add a border to show you. We will select border and change the type to solid. As you can see, a border has now appeared around the left column. We can also change the width and make the border thick. We will now remove this as it is not what is needed. Moving on to the advanced section, we're able to change the margin, the padding, and so forth. Moving away from the column, we will start with the next widget. In this case, it will be the Headings widget. Selecting the Edit Heading widget, the bar again on the left hand side will appear. Here we are able to add text to the heading or remove it. We could also add a link and change the style, the size and alignment of the heading. We will now set it back to center and move on to the styling section. Here we are able to change the text color to any color that we prefer. We will set it back to black and move forward. In the typography section, we can change the family font, the size, the weight, transform the text, change the style, the decoration, and so forth. Moving forward, we can add a text shadow as well as change the blending mode, which is not needed. In the advanced section, we have the option to add margin or padding. As you can see, we again have a padding of 30 on the top for this title. Removing that will bring the title up. As you can see, that padding has brought the widget's top padding down and not the actual column which we have done previously. We will now set that back to 30 and carry on. We also have the option to do the motion effects, the background, and so forth. Please note that this will not be required as it is for more in-depth development. Moving on to the next widget, we have a simple divider. Again, we can hit the Edit Divider and all the options will appear on our left hand side, as well as the styling options and advanced options. Next, we will move on to this section, the text editor. If we select the text editor, in here you're able to see we have text containing the contact person, the email, the cell number and the address. Please note you will not need to fiddle with this as it is all correct. Moving on to the styling section, we're able to change the alignment of the text editor, the color of the text, so we can set it to red if wanted, as well as to change the typography, which includes the font, size, weight and so forth. Lastly, we are able to edit the columns, which we will not need as they are fitting neatly. In the advanced section, again we have options to change the margin and the padding. Moving on to the next column, we do not need to go into the heading as we have done the contact details on the left. The same can be said for the divider. Moving on to the form, we will select Edit Form. As you can see, we have the bar appear on our left hand side. We currently have 4 items. The first item will be the name. By selecting item 1, it will open that up. As you can see, we have a placeholder set to name and we have no label. If we were to insert a label, you can see name appears above the bar. However, that is not what we want, so we will remove it. We are also able to select whether this field is required or not, as well as change the column width. If I was to change the column width to 50 and go to item number 2 and change that to 50 as well, as you can see, the 2 bars have now fit next to each other. I will now set it back to default at 100%. And that is how you will change the fields for your form. As you can see, there is a type for each section. We have a text area which will be for text. If we go to the email one, you can see the type is set to email and so forth. Closing that, we have the submit button. Here we are able to change the text for the button, change the size, change the column width, even change the alignment, and to change the icon for the button. Next, the actions after submit will have already been completed and you do not need to fiddle with this. In the email options, again, we have already completed all of this and you will not need to worry about it. Additional options, again, is for further in-depth development and is not required. In the style section, we have the option to change the column gaps. As you can see, we have got it set as 10 and we have increased it now, and the fields should increase the gaps. As you can see, there is a slight error there. I will need to look into that. Moving forward, we are able to change the spacing for the label, the text color of the labels, the HTML fields, and so forth. In the actual field style settings, we can change the text color, and so forth. We are also able to change the typography, which includes the font, the size, and so on. Lastly, we are able to change the background color of the form. We will leave this as white. Next, we are able to change the border width of the fields. You can see if I put it to 0, all the borders have disappeared. If I put the width increases, the border will increase. Lastly, we can also change the border radius. As you can see, increasing the number, the radius and edges of the borders should change. We will now set that back to default. In the button section, we can change the background color on the normal mode and on the hover mode. As you can see, I have a background color of red and text on white, and when I hover it switches, making the background white and the text red. Lastly, in the message field, we can change the color of the successful error or inline message receipts, which will not be needed. Lastly, in the advanced section, we are able to edit the margin, the padding, background, motion effects, the border, and so forth. Once we are happy with the changes made to our contact page, we will simply select Update and the changes will be saved.